Hi, quick heads up, you are about to hear me use the word condone many times in exactly the wrong way. So please bear in mind, whenever you hear me use the word condone, what I mean is condemn. I'm talking wag of the finger and not tip of the hat, which is what condone actually means. So thank you in advance for your understanding and enjoy the rest of this video. Video.
Hi everyone, Sydney here, back in the car driving to work on this glorious day. The worst of the storm is hopefully behind us. I gotta say, there are two things I love about winter storms. First of all, there is a higher incidence of cops acting as peace officers. So, for every minute that a cop spends redirecting traffic so that your car can get loaded onto a tow truck, that's a minute that cop is not spending at some speed trap waiting to hand out traffic tickets. So that's cool. The other thing I like is a higher incidence of Good Samaritanism. I got stuck in a snowbank on Monday at around midnight, so it was a pretty desperate situation by first world standards, obviously. I had to flag me down a Good Samaritan to help me push. So that's cool. Moving on to today's topic, I was supposed to plan and prepare some rudimentary notes for this topic, but I did not have time, so I'm spitballing it, baby. Today's topic is a concept that I was introduced to many years ago, back when I was still a socialist, but I was a socialist like on my way out. I was already on the path. Probably less than 6 months later, I was an anarchist. But this was a concept introduced to me back when I listened to the Peace Revolution podcast. I believe it was definitely a show with Richard Grove in it, who's an outstanding, I think the word luminary fits this person quite well. He kind of got me off the path of the conspiracy theorist / Freeman on the land stuff, and led me into the warm embrace of the non-aggression principle eventually. So basically, I think that in whatever podcast I was listening to, they were talking about the Abu Ghraib scandal, which happened under a Republican president, so it actually matters. And he was talking about how and I see this over and over again, and this is why I'm bringing this up now, because I think we've been seeing a lot of this recently. So when you have a story in your mind about why a person deserves to suffer, you actually take pleasure in seeing them suffer, something like that. Basically, when in your mind you have a story as to why this person here is a bad person, you take pleasure in seeing them suffer. Now, what do you call someone who takes pleasure in seeing someone else suffer? A sadist. So I forget if Richard Grove used this term, but if he didn't, I coined the term shortly thereafter of rationalized sadism. So this is the concept of, I just described it 2 or 3 times here, so I won't redefine it once again. So the reason I'm bringing this up is we've been seeing a lot of rationalized sadism, particularly from lefties, ever since Trump's inauguration in particular. We've been seeing incidents at those universities in California where there were basically riots and people being beaten with weapons because they wanted to attend a speech given by a gay Jew who has, controversial ideas. I get it, but this whole reflex of calling people Nazis is dangerous in the sense that, first of all, it deflates it deflates the potency of the term Nazi. Kind of like what's already happened with racist. I mean, everyone's a racist. I mean, fucking lefties, man, they always double down and they don't realize how they're weakening their own arguments whenever they just double down, whenever something doesn't work. But the thing is, when you use the term Nazi to describe everyone, including this gay Jew that was giving this speech markedly at UC Berkeley, but I think it happened at another university in California. I'm talking about Milo Yiannopoulos, if you haven't figured it out, by the way. And the riots that happened around his speeches, where apparently there was a Molotov cocktail thrown at a generator to stop this Nazi from spreading his hate. I'm going to throw this flaming bottle at this generator, because what could possibly go wrong besides freedom and protection? And look under your seat, everyone. Oh, everyone gets shit, I was trying to improvise there, but everyone gets protection from Nazism. Here we go. So yeah, this is a tragic demonstration of how calling someone a Nazi can lead to violence in the name of protecting people that you are that Nazis traditionally oppose. Basically anyone who's not an Aryan, and it's really dangerous. And the thing that bugs me the most is how other lefties don't condone this. If you have evidence of lefties condoning the violence that has happened at UC Berkeley specifically, please let me know. I really want to know. I am always open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. And as a matter of fact, I see evidence of lefties supporting this kind of shit, which is really scary, especially considering that they're reacting the way that they were saying that Trump supporters might react if they lost, which is really rich. Now, to be honest, I lost my train of thought there, but I will transition to this clip that I saw on YouTube. I hope I can find it, but I don't know if I will. It was a clip of whatever Bill Maher's show is called now. I think it's Real Talk or something like that. And they were talking. One of the people on the panel was, okay, yes, I think it was Piers Morgan, the British reporter. I hope I'm getting these names right. I look extremely stupid right now if I'm not, but I'm going with Piers Morgan. The guy who had Alex Jones on the show. 1776 will commence again if you try to take our guns. The guy that Alex Jones was screaming that to. So basically he was on Bill Maher's show, and he was talking about the riots, and he was talking about how Trump is not Hitler. This controversial idea that Trump is not Hitler, and he was talking about the riots, and one of the chicks on the panel kind of relabeled it resistance. When you put your fucking black mask on and start kicking garbage cans and throwing garbage cans through windows of Starbucks, a company that presumably backed Clinton during the election, because Clinton is establishment, Clinton is corporations, Clinton is corruption, both Bill and Hillary. But when you put on your black mask and decide to incite violence and damage people and property, you're not the fucking rebels in Star Wars, okay? You're the fucking whatever the people on the ground level during the fucking Nazism rise were. You know, you're using violence and you have a story in the back of your mind as to why the people that you're inciting violence to deserve it. So they had it coming. All you had to do is not be a Nazi, and I wouldn't be hitting you with this axe handle. It's really dangerous. And what's even more dangerous, in my view, is other lefties who are not doing this, which is the majority of lefties. Most people in general do not have the. What I'm trying to say is most people wouldn't resort to violence unless they were in a straight up situation of self-defense. Most people want to be peaceful. So I think everyone agrees that these, Molotov cocktail throwing, trash can throwing through windows people are an extremely vocal minority. However, and this is the part that bugs me, is you have to condone this, especially when you agree with whatever banner these people are doing their violence under. It deflates your own position when someone calls everyone who disagrees with them a Nazi. That weakens your position when you're confronted with actual fascism or National Socialism or whatever. I'm really poorly informed as of World War II. It's probably been obvious for a couple minutes now. But the thing is, it really bugged me for Piers Morgan to call these people's rioters and to have this black chick, whoever she was, say, no, the resistance is working. We need resistance for, stop taking pleasure in the suffering of others. Like a more personal example, not personal to me, but personal because it's a very focused, zoomed in response. Richard Spencer getting sucker punched apparently twice in the same day on Trump's inauguration day. I don't really know much of anything about Richard Spencer. I know people, he's called a white supremacist. However, as I've covered in this very video, that might just be code for I don't like some of the stuff he says. So I don't know enough to know if he actually is a white supremacist. But one thing is for certain, even if he was a fucking grand dragon wizard of the KKK, and there were dozens and dozens of photos of him in full Klan garb, in front of a burning cross or whatever. Sucker punching him is still the initiation of force. And I think I've done a video on how when I feel bad for someone but I don't feel that bad, I would say that in this theoretical Richard Spencer that is a grand dragon wizard of the KKK, if he did get sucker punched, I wouldn't feel that bad for him, but I still would feel bad for him. And even in situations like this, like let's say, okay, perfect example, highly documented, when George W. Bush was visiting, I forget what country he was in, but some Arab reporter threw his shoe at him, and he kind of dodged the shoe. That is a perfect example of me saying, had the shoe hit Bush in the face, I wouldn't feel that bad for him, but you still have to say, you're throwing a shoe at someone. This is the initiation of force. And as much as I sympathize with the shoe thrower, it's still wrong and it's not cool. So if I saw more of that from lefties, specifically, I'm still talking about Richard Spencer here. So if I saw more of this from lefties, as opposed to the, oh my God, he got pwned, that is so, some of you might have laughed earlier when I just brought up Richard Spencer getting sucker punched. You were a sadist in the moment, and this is it's not cool. And again, you can sympathize, even if he actually is a white supremacist. You can sympathize with the sucker punchers because apparently there were two, but it's still wrong. And it would be cool to have, people say that are not me. So bringing it back to the UC Berkeley riots, it's a real shame that people feel justified in threatening people with violence for wanting to attend an event. I mean, you're interfering with force. You're forcefully interfering with people's right of association in the name of anti-Nazism, which is enough to leave me speechless, apparently. And I would love to see more people, more lefties calling that out. So, to wrap up what I've just said, rationalized sadism is a very slippery slope. And when you have a story in your mind as to why this other person deserves to suffer, that is all the more reason to empathize with them even more, because rationalized sadism is a very easy way that feels good. That's why it's so easy. It's a very easy way to lose sight of your own principles. And, next thing you know, you're calling a gay Jew who has mostly black boyfriends a Nazi, and throwing Molotov cocktails at generators to stop him from speaking, and beating people who are trying to attend his events with axe handles. And the shit that went down in UC Berkeley. So please, please have empathy even for people that you think don't deserve it, because you can go down a pretty slippery slope. And I think this slippery slope is a legitimate slippery slope, as is demonstrated by, these Antifa jackasses screaming anti-Nazism while beating people up who hold views who disagree with them, and also the silent lefties who just sit by and watch this happen and don't speak out against it. I invite you to take a look in the mirror and explore why you're not speaking out, because there might be some rationalized sadism behind that too. So hopefully you've actually reached this part of the video. This rambly bit in the middle where I lost my train of thought didn't, inspire you to hit pause or click somewhere else. So if you're still watching and or listening, thank you very much. I am really curious to know more about your thoughts. Please leave any comments, and also evidence. If you have evidence of lefties speaking out against this violence, I want to hear from you the most. Please leave a comment below. And obviously, I would appreciate it if you liked and shared this video. And if you are not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, and subscribe to me again by clicking on that little bell so you get that little, that little notification. You know the drift. And you'll find links to my social media below. And I think I've and-ummed enough for this video. So you take care. I will see you soon. You take care.